So recently I just completed rewatching Stranger Things Season 1 for the fourth time this entire year. I know, so little, right? I need to be doing a lot more rewatches. But I wanted to just rank each episode, just give general thoughts, but this is just a ranking. I'm not going to deep dive into each one, just mentioning a few things here and there. And disclaimer, if something's on the bottom of the list, doesn't mean I hate it. Obviously, stuff has to place somewhere on a tier list. Something's bound to have to be the least favorite. But I love all these episodes. Season 1 is amazing. I think it's a 10 out of 10 season of television. But without further ado, let's jump right into this. So at the bottom of my list, we have episode 2, The Weirdo on Maple Street. This episode kind of introduces the first time you see Elle with the boys, Mike, Lucas, and Dustin. You see more of just Joyce and Hopper and like what Hopper's like trying to find Will. Joyce obviously had the whole experience with the phone, the whole phone call thing. So you kind of see the aftermath of that. It's a good episode. I just kind of view it as, I don't really think there's any standout things that are in that episode alone. It feels like kind of just a continuation upon the pilot episode, which totally fine by me. I don't have a problem with that, but I have to point that out. Not anything like pinpoint worthy. Like, I'll give you a great example, just one of them random is like, you know, The Body, for example. Just, you know, maybe there's like the aftermath of The Body. You have some really nice scenes there with Joyce and Jonathan, emotional scenes. You have the revelation that it's not even Will's body in the first place, stuff like that. It's there. Episode 2, I feel like just a continuation, just doesn't really stand out to me like the other episodes, but still a really great ep. I love just seeing the start of Mike, Elle, Lucas, and Dustin, that whole friendship that forms and the whole grouping that forms. Episode 4, The Bodies, coming in at number 7 on my list. This one, like I said, just mentioned, the Joyce and Jonathan scene, I feel like a very underrated scene of the show. I love the emotion that was put into that scene. You really feel the raw emotions, the conflicting thoughts, just what everyone's going through with the aftermath of what's happened with Will. You also have, I want to say, I think this is definitely the ep where they go to the school and they use the Hawkins kit maker thing to contact Will with Elle, trying to use some sort of transmitting sequence. That's also when Joyce just completely slashes her own wall. Again, just a very iconic sequence of events there. Like, that's really emotional. That's a really nice scene. There's a lot going on, and I think it's the first time that we did see Jonathan and Nancy talk to each other, like kind of combine forces. That was really nice. It was the introduction of that. So yeah, episode 4 of The Bodies coming at number 7. Let's see, number 6, guys, we are going to The Flea and the Acrobat, which is episode 5, the one right after The Body. I feel like this is the episode where Mr. Clark shines the most, because obviously he gives the boys a very simplistic rundown of what the concept of an alternate dimension could be, and like the logistics behind it. Also is a great way to just show the audience how the upside down works, but kind of in very simple terms to where like anyone can comprehend. And the funeral, very sad sequence. Of course, we have the piece of shit that is Lonnie in this episode too, which, yeah, fortunately it's the last time we've seen Lonnie, at least up to this point. But yeah, Joyce is kind of with Lonnie the whole time. There's a lot of iconic scenes and like moments in this episode. The whole argument at the Byers' house when Joyce realized what Lonnie's true motivations were for being around, you know, going to Will's funeral and all that. That was an amazing scene. You have the whole shootout practice in the woods with Nancy and Jonathan when they're trying to hunt down the Demogorgon. And of course the end sequence, Nancy goes into that tree and it's like a cliffhanger. Like, there's some really good moments in this episode that sets up the next episode brilliantly. And episode 5, The Flea and the Acrobat, I like to think of it as like a setting up episode. It's kind of like explaining episode where finally the audience kind of just knows what's going on. And in the beginning sequence too, absolutely amazing. I loved seeing Hopper go into the Hawkins lab and then like Dustin's monologue, kind of like a voiceover over just seeing Hopper explore the lab. It was such a cool sequence. That intro was amazing. So yeah, a lot of good stuff in The Flea and the Acrobat. But just some of these episodes just have to be higher on this list. So we're at the halfway point almost. So we're going for my 5th ranking here. So 5th is going to be the pilot itself. Episode 1, The Vanishing of Will Byers. This episode obviously kickstarted the entire show, but does such a great job of just laying the foundations for a bunch of characters. Obviously, you got to get introduced to all the characters, but they do a good job at it, you know? You see the dynamics with the boys, Joyce, Hopper, Steve, Nancy, Jonathan, like all these characters all come together as one. I feel like you just know everyone right off the bat. You kind of get an idea of everyone right off the bat, and it's a really good thing. The pilot is meant to do that. It has the very iconic opening of Will being just taken to the upside down, which obviously was a butterfly effect, so basically like most of the sequences for the rest of the show. And it sets up a lot, and I really like it for what it does, just setting it up. Also, rest in peace, Benny. You did not deserve to go out, especially in episode 1 itself. You could at least have lasted till episode 2, but yeah, that was brutal. And yeah, there was a lot of good in this episode. Like, I just feel like if you go into Stranger Things for the very first time, it's a good episode to start, and like you already kind of grab your attention, you know? I feel like the show just would grab your attention on episode 1 alone. Like, you're just very curious about the whole mystery of what happened to him, and that's what you follow for the rest of the season. Next, we have what is my top 4, which basically means like you're in like if I split the season into half, you made the final 4, which is really good. So we're gonna go in 4th place is episode 7, the penultimate ep before the finale, which is the bathtub. What I really love about this episode is how everyone finally joins forces. Everyone comes together with all the little different pieces of the puzzle they had to this grand mystery and conspiracy, and they all blend, and it all works great. Everyone, you got the older teens, the kids, and of course the adults, all come together, and it's incredible. I love just seeing the united forces. Can't forget that this episode has the very iconic scene as well of Elle flipping the van. Absolutely crazy stuff. Probably a very iconic moment of the entire show, and it's from this episode, you know? And I also just really like the one-on-one interactions that we saw. The whole sequence at the middle school is very interesting. When Elle goes to find Barb and Will, we find out that Will is technically still out there. Barb confirmed dead. Like, there's some really sad moments and really interesting moments as well. Like, I also just like what it sets up for the finale. You see Nancy and Jonathan, they're gonna go and hunt down that Demogorgon and try and kill it. Joyce and Hopper, they're going to Hawkins' lab, finally trying to locate Will, because they know where he was at technically. And then you have the kids chilling at the middle school as like a cliffhanger thing. The whole kids running away from the, you know, big government people, the bad people, and the whole Karen and Ted even kind of getting somewhat involved. I know, finally, right? And a lot of good things happen in this episode. It is the shortest episode though in all of Stranger Things. That is definitely something to just acknowledge, you know, because yeah, there technically always has to be one short episode, but yeah, this one's a little shorter than normal, but still 42 minutes, you know, not horrible. Episode 6, The Monster, the one right before episode 7, The Bathtub. That's coming in at 3rd place. This episode, I think, honestly, like, I prefer the dynamics we see in episode 7, obviously, because no one really combines yet in episode 6, but I just think episode 6 has just amazing goosebump moments that just stand out from season 1. And I can, like, just give you some right off the bat, you know? You had the whole, obviously the big one, right? Which is Mike attempting suicide in order to save Dustin. That whole sequence, really just emotional and tense. The tension was there. Elle obviously comes to save the day. You have the whole Nancy. Well, Nancy got slut shamed, so I mean she was involved too. But of course you have the Jonathan and Steve fight in the alleyway, intense. Jonathan, of course, absolutely whooping Steve's ass. And like I think just those were kind of like peaked moments before things settled a little bit, and then it went up again in the finale. You know, it's kind of like that middle ground climax, I kind of like to think of it. And of course you had Joyce and Hopper, who kind of spend the episode going to Aunt Becky, which is the like sister of what's her name, Terry Ives, obviously the mother of Eleven. So they go out and all there, and then they learn more about Eleven herself. So yeah, definitely interesting stuff there. And yeah, those were like pretty much the 2 main things to point out. Obviously, Lucas kind of goes on his little solo journey, obviously, because he doesn't want to we doesn't want anything to do with Eleven. He sees her as a traitor. But yeah, I just think a lot of stuff good happens in this ep. Like a lot of just good scenes happen in this ep, and then a lot of them come in the back half, but it still works. Like still part of the ep, obviously. And yeah, this is also the ep where you had the iconic like L at Bradley's Big Buy and just absolutely steals the Eggos and just crushes that door. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. And you had the whole revelation too that L closed the gate. Like I said, there's just a lot of good moments in this ep. I had to put it really high. It's going in third place. Now in second place, we got 2 episodes left. The second place, I'm going to put Holly Jolly, which is episode 3, which, yeah, it's a little more of a sooner ep. But guys, Holly Jolly, for just being the 3rd ep of the show, and obviously you have many more eps to go after 3 before you finish the season, it is amazing. I love Holly Jolly so much. It is probably one of the best, like, emotional written endings of any episode of Stranger Things. I wouldn't say it's the most, but it's probably up there. I would give it maybe even a top 5 shout. I'm going that far. Like the whole iconic motion of the Christmas lights and the letters on the wall, absolutely iconic. And then the whole, you think that Will's dead with the body. You see all the characters react because they believe that he's dead. You know, Mike crying and the whole like Jonathan and Joyce, like they see each other on the road and they hug. It's emotional. Hopper's trying to locate him, goes to the library, which comes back in season 4 in a really cool way. Like there's a lot of just cool stuff there that's going down, and I really appreciate that. And also like the whole scene of Holly nearly being taken by a Demogorgon, which I feel like will definitely start to like look a little more like a heavy foreshadow all these years down the future with season 5, because we know Holly's playing a role in season 5, like a role that she hasn't really played before in the show. And there's just so much good in this episode, and like I said, the ending of this episode, arguably a top 10 moment in the entire show, like sequence. Like if you weren't already attached to Stranger Things, I feel like this episode wins you over. It is that good. And finally, at number 1, you knew this one had to be there. It's the finale of season 1 as the best episode of season 1, which is the Upside Down. What can I say? So many like emotional scenes happen this you know, Joyce and Hopper go to the Upside Down. You see like the flashbacks that explains what happens to Hopper's daughter Sarah. You have Elle sacrificing herself to save the boys, and you don't know where she's at, but she basically just vanished in the moment in order to get the Demogorgon away. You see Steve finally kind of, you know, make up for his wrongdoings. See Jonathan get his camera again because, you know, like Jonathan definitely deserved to get that camera back. And like I'm glad that they showed that like he's not really the creep that he is made out to be. Like there's so many good moments. The whole Demogorgon showdown at the Byers' house as well, when the governments just invade the middle school and hunt down the kids. There is just a lot of good in this episode. And of course, how can I not mention, you know, Will's finally back. So you have the whole kind of sequence of him in the hospital. You get an epilogue of 1 month later around Christmas time. Honestly, could have wrapped up the show. Like this show could have easily just been like a one-off season of television, and it could have been wrapped up right there as like a one-off season. Like it's perfect as its isolated thing, and it's also perfect to kickstart seasons 2, 3, 4, and now 5. Like overall, gotta give a huge shout out to the finale of season 1, the Upside Down. And that's gonna do it for this entire ranking video. I definitely plan to do one for seasons 2, 3, and 4, and definitely will do one for 5 once 5 is fully out. And that's pretty much gonna be it. Let me know what your guys' rankings are in the comments. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like I said, I love all these episodes, but you know, they gotta play somewhere, you know what I'm saying? All right, peace out.